gold, gear, ability materials, training materials, all things that we are limited on. I am Dogbert. I have hoarded these materials. I have built the character, and together we shall find out, is this character worth it? Hello and welcome to Worth It. We have a special Worth It for you today. Going to be doing two characters at once because they kind of work together because they're the A-Force characters in the city nodes. We're talking about Spider-Woman and Nico Minoru, who are going to be needed for the Gambit raids as well. But overall, I think we as a community are definitely sleeping on A-Force. A-Force actually is a good team. It just needs to be built up. I think we're getting into that mindset again. Somebody new comes out, they're at lower stars, they don't really have them built up. We want to go against something that is already built up, like the Young Avengers or something, or Heroes for Hire, and like, oh look, they don't work at low levels. No, they can't punch up ridiculous amounts. I think everybody wants to punch up these ridiculous amounts. They got used to it with Infinity Watch doing that maybe. Unfortunately, things need to be built up to the same levels. You can't just bring in low levels and expect them to work against something that's very built. So anyway, with that little rant out of the way, let's take a look at Spider-Woman. First, we must talk about the pros. She has good survivability. Being a newer character, she has that higher health pool. Plus, with the way the A-Force team works, they give themselves more health and stuff like that. She does have a lower mini unique cost of gear, so only 36. So if you're talking about Dark Dimension 5, she might be a good candidate to bring in because of that lower mini unique cost and a bio character, though. City is somewhat loaded with bio characters. Her basic applies defense down to the primary and two adjacent targets. That is an excellent ability. We saw it with Symbiote Spider-Man. This is a newer character, does the same thing, and has a lower cost. Symbiote Spider-Man being a 72. So that's something else to keep in mind. That works in this. Most of this works in or out of war. Doesn't matter. And she does. This goes back to her survivability. She heals herself for 20% of her max health every turn. This is what really feeds that survivability. When you're in Dark Dimension, a character who can heal themselves is very valuable. And just in general, once we're using her in these Gambit raids, that'll also be incredibly important because how else are you going to heal? Other than pay money for it. That's what they want you to do, Scopely. Her special applies ability block for 1 turn. I believe it's heal block for 2 turns and offense down to 2 turns as well. It's a great special, honestly. We all know how powerful ability block is, but don't discount heal block, and offense down is another great debuff that you would like. And she is a faster character. She's at 128 speed, so this is so she's going to go very quickly. And because of that quickly, with that healing self, she's going to get even more survivability. Really, it's a good character. However, there are of course cons. The best part of her passive is locked behind war. Yes, it's working right now outside of war. She is bugged. She will be fixed in the patch. That whole accuracy thing going away, it's going to suck. But overall, she's still a very good character, I think. Her special and ultimate have long cooldowns. That is really a downside. And once you understand how the team works, you understand when those cooldowns are there and how to get past that, as I'll go into. This is where those special and ultimate, she needs Jessica Jones with her. The reason being, Jessica Jones gives out energy of her basic and her special, especially to A-Force allies. This helps eliminate that special and ultimate having such long cooldowns. You need Jessica Jones with her. This means building Jessica Jones as well. Jessica Jones, I think, is a very highly underrated character. I'll have a link to her Worth It build below, because in her video I also show off the A-Force in DD3. At the end of this video will be DD4, where I'm using a little bit different team. And her focus is on the lower side, honestly. This means that landing those defense downs and stuff is going to be a little bit harder. The good thing is, though, a lot of that can't be blocked. A lot of it can't be counterattacked. So I definitely would recommend Skirmisher on her to get that focus a bit higher so that she has a better chance of landing that defense down, the ability to block the heal, block the offense down. So, and let's take a look at her in game now, so I can go a little bit more over her kit before we decide if she is worth it. So this is my Spider-Woman. As you can see, I have built her up to level 80 gear 15. This is how much I think she is worth it, honestly. I have taken her into DD4 and tested her out as well. You can see I am running Blue ISO level 3 Skirmisher. I do have a 4-4 on her. As far as T4s, the only T4 I do not recommend on her is this Ultimate. The ultimate is kind of situational, honestly. It's a good ultimate, 300% damage and 50% damage negative on primary target, which is quite nice, and it flips a positive effect. The T4 is more of a luxury thing for flipping 2 positive effects if you're in that situation, plus an extra 60% damage. That one would be up to you. Her passive is awesome, applying defense up for 2 turns on spawn to A-Force and herself. Yes, you want that. This happens outside of war. The lower accuracy happens only in war. At least it will once we are patched. Her special is great too. This is 70% extra damage to the primary and secondary targets. That's a lot of damage. And it chains to 4 adjacent targets. And as you can see, when she's chaining to those 4 adjacent targets, she's applying heal block and offense down to them as well for 2 turns, so more damage. And the bonus on more offense is just great to have. And her basic, one of her best abilities, this gives it to applying defense down for 2 turns instead of 1. Obviously you want that, plus she's doing 30% more damage to both the primary and adjacent targets, which she does to 2. So that's kind of like getting 90% more damage out of her, roughly. You definitely want that. As far as her unique, it is the cloth here, which is also used by Invisible Woman and also by Squirrel Girl. If you're planning on bringing her, you might want to think about that. She is a bio character, like I said. So now let's go and take a look at if she is worth it. So is Spider-Woman, almost said man, sorry about that, worth it? Arena, no, she's not an arena character. Raids, she's not a web warrior. The web warriors are so good, we don't even consider anybody else for the bio lanes, which is what she is. Cosmic Crucible, yes, she is worth it for Cosmic Crucible for an offense. If you want to run her on offense, she can help you counter Young Avengers. You need to really pair up A-Force with Doom. They can counter Young Avengers quite well. They can punch up with Doom in Cosmic Crucible and in War. For Dark Dimension, the answer is yes if you are bringing Jessica Jones. She needs that energy from Jessica Jones. She'll get the energy from Jessica Jones. If she has the energy from Jessica Jones plus what Jessica Jones gives her, on top of this, makes her a very good Dark Dimension character, actually. You could use her without Jessica Jones, but realize that you're going to be mostly using her basic then and waiting for some very long cooldowns. So suggested level in gear, I'm going to say level 85, gear 15, gear 16 if you want to bring her in to Dark Dimension 5, but only if you're bringing Jessica Jones as well and Skirmisher ISO. Now let's move on to Nico. Nico Minoru, probably a character that everybody looks at and is kind of dismissed, doesn't really like because of the randomized effect after you use her abilities the first turn. But she actually has a lot of pros. A newer character again, good survivability again. As long as you bring her with the A-Force, she also gets those bonuses if you bring other A-Force allies. She's also a City Mystic character. That is something, we don't have a whole lot of good City Mystic characters. When you're looking at that city lane, there's a whole lot of bio. So having somebody who's Mystic really does help out. She uses Palladium as a unique, which is an interesting unique that she has. That's not a unique really used by anybody else that you'd be looking at taking to like a Dark Dimension 5 or building up. So it's something you can just burn as you like. As far as her gear, I didn't put that on here, but she's kind of middle of the road at 54 for mini uniques. Not the highest, not the lowest. She can flip defense up, offense up, and deflect on all enemies with her ultimate. That is gigantic. It doesn't matter how many enemies, she'll flip it on all. And she can revive an ally, actually. That's one of the randomized effects. It's actually quite useful. You're actually going to see in Dark Dimension 4, my Spider-Woman dies, she actually does revive her briefly. She gives herself and A-Force more health. This is a part of the passive. A lot of the A-Force characters give themselves and the other A-Force allies more health, so you naturally want them to come together and do that and get even more tankier, more survivability. They really work well together. She has a good amount of drain, and she can apply regen to herself. She, with a T4, as you'll see, you get 50% drain. That's quite a lot. And the fact on her special, she can also apply a regen to herself. This helps her keep her more survivable, healing herself up as well. And she has pretty high focus, honestly. You don't really need to run Skirmisher for her. She puts out a lot of debuffs, or can put out a lot of debuffs, I should say. Especially when you want her to have that high focus with the flip, but you don't really need to run Skirmisher. She can also, the other thing is, she can clear, heal, block, and stun from the ally with the highest damage. I kind of screwed that up with the wording, and she calls an assist for that ally as well when she does that. Does more damage for that ally. Great thing. And she is a fast character. She's at 129 speed, so she is very fast. Her cons, the best part of her passive is unfortunately locked behind war. Things like, trauma, things like that. Safeguard, a member she gives to her. I forget how all it looks like. Her special and ultimate have long cooldowns. This is, of course, solved with Jessica Jones again, giving energy. You really need the A-Force characters together. 3 of them, though, are in City, so you could bring all 3. And randomized effects after the first use of her abilities. You don't know which one you're going to get. Like I said, that revive is one of them. She also has a heal. She applies bleeds. There's a bunch of them. In fact, let's just go take a look at her kit because we have to figure out if she is worth it. Alright, this is my Nico. Unfortunately, I am running Skirmisher. That was what I was first out trying on her. I don't think she needs Skirmisher. I will probably be flipping her to either Healer or Striker. You could even make the case for Raider on her. My Nico is 5'5" already. I only have 2 T4s on her. The first being this passive. This is an absolute must. This gives you the 50% drain. It also gives on spawn, you give safeguard to the highest health A-Force ally, whoever that may be, depending on how you have built up. You can see the war offense stuff. It also gives immunity and death proof to that highest ally. Quite useful. The other one is her ultimate 50% extra damage to all enemies. This can be great in Dark Dimension when you have a whole lot of enemies. Plus, if you're worried about war offense, if you have 3 or more A-Force allies, in order to you have the whole team, you can apply trauma and disrupt it for 2 turns to the primary target, like Ms. Marvel, maybe. If you're doing that. And after every use of the ability, this is in addition to what she already does, you're either going to gain 2 evade, you're going to apply 2 deflect to self and allies, or revive a dead ally with 20% base health. And then war, she gets more focus with this attack. This is why, especially if you're running in war, you don't really need Skirmisher on her. I need to change this. The special could be something we apply the T4 to, especially with these upcoming Gambit raids. 40% more damage to the primary and adjacent targets. It's kind of, you just hit in an area. Again, great for Dark Dimension. After you've used it one time, you can either disrupt it, you can either gain death proof, or you can give 2 counter to adjacent allies around her. But the main thing it does is it applies 2 bleed to a whole little area of characters. That's just more bleeds, that does more damage. This is why you might want to run her a Striker, get a little bit more damage, make those bleeds do a little bit more. The reason why you also might want a T4 is to give it an extra generation, because she only gets 1, it'll go to 2. Maybe make her survive a little bit better. And then finally we have the basic, which is actually quite a good basic. I don't know if it's worth just 60% to a single target. This is the one that clears all heal, block, and stun from the ally with the highest damage, and then they call that ally to do to attack the primary target. So that's an extra assist there. And after every use of the ability, you can get a bleed, you can gain defense up, or you can heal the most injured ally yourself by 15% of this character's max health. Another reason why you might want a healer ISO on here, plus there's no real other healer on the A-Force team, you might need the healing just to help you get a little bit by. She does have a decent health pool even at 5.5 because she is a newer character. So with all this said, let's go take a look and see if she's worth it. So is Nico Minoru worth it? I think she actually is overall, but let's take a look. Arena, no, she's not going to be used in Arena. That's pretty much Eternals, Darkhold. You're not going to really use her there. Raids, unfortunately, Mystic right now is very loaded. There's absolutely no room for another Mystic character in Raids. You can use Cloak and Dagger. You're going to always be using the Eternals. I've seen full Darkhold used. I've seen mixed of Eternals Darkhold used. You have Dormammu. It is absolutely loaded. There's just really no room for a Mystic in Raids. Cosmic Crucible, yes, again for offense, and also for war for offense. Again, going against those Young Avengers, which are getting very big because everybody's building Young Avengers now for the Scourge. But this might be another character that maybe we need a second team. Maybe A-Force is better than we thought in the Scourge, and Young Avengers won't be as good. We don't know yet. Nobody knows, honestly, because we don't know what the Scourge is going to look like. And finally, for Dark Dimension, yes, again, if you're bringing Jessica Jones, you're probably best off also bringing Spider-Woman with her. They just work very well together. The team I'm actually using, as you'll see in the videos, is Nico, Spider-Woman, Jessica Jones, Squirrel Girl, who's phenomenal for DD5, highly worth it. I'll be doing a Dark Dimension infographic soon of who to bring, who you might not want to bring also. And I also use Shang-Chi. I've also used Ghost Spider with her. You'll see in the video. I do the first two nodes of DD4 with Ghost Spider. We get into node 12. I bring in Shang-Chi because I was having problems with Ghost Spider surviving. She was the problem. Shang-Chi looks much better with her. Plus, he would be a skill character, so if you're building this team, it would be a little bit easier on you. Fortunately, there's quite a bit of bio on this team. And they get pretty far in node 12. They do not clear it in one shot, but they take out most of wave 2, leaving just the Emma, Shield Trooper, Symbiote Spider-Man, and Scream, which, considering that they, outside of Shang-Chi, are all level 80, gear 15, is quite an amazing feat, considering how difficult node 12 is. So suggested level and gear, level 85, gear 15, gear 16 if you want to bring her into DD5, if you're bringing the rest of the A-Force City characters with you. It would either be a striker or healer ISO. Please ignore my skirmisher. I was testing with originally, but I think she would be much better as a striker or healer. But if you're having problems getting the flip, maybe you don't have as high stars on her, you might want to run the skirmisher then. There's also a case to be made for Raider, since she does hit, with their special and the ultimate, does hit a lot of targets. Could go Raider as well. So with all this said, I'm going to put the video evidence of DD4 here. Now at the end of this video, I think they're both worth building. I think A-Force is worth building. And you can take a look at that. Plus I'll link in the description for the Jessica Jones one. You can see them in DD3 as well. Until next time, everybody.